Coming soon to this theater.
Bedtime, Emily.
What we're dealing with here is an aberration of the species. Something hallucinating evil. Terrible evil.
You will find him.
Might be better if I didn't.
Some guy seems to be following me around. I spotted him a couple times outside of school. I keep hearing things in the house or thinking I hear things. Bobby? Bobby, this isn't funny. Some freak's been on the telephone tonight.
The time of the demon, our demon, is drawing close. He's less than a man, and more than a man. Much more.
Blue Star presents Boarding House in Horror Vision. Forget 3D and experience a new dimension in screen terror. For Horror Vision, you don't need glasses, only a strong heart. At one time, the Hoffman House was just like any ordinary house, until an evil force became a resident. Power took possession. And unleashed its terror. Death stalks even in the dreams of all who enter the boarding house. The rent won't kill you, but something else will. Boarding house.
We're back
in horror
on the Drive-In Asylum.
Rated R.
All right, I won't step on you. We're back on the Drive-In Asylum double feature. After enduring the multiple climaxes of Evil Dead Trap. Well, I forgot how many times that movie ended. Any day now.
I was letting Gene do it because he's the guest. I was letting him come in. I didn't want to step on him.
Okay. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I guess there were multiple endings, but it's like I was saying, before we watched the movie. The ending is just fucking nuts. I mean, you think it's just going to be some violent, weird twist at the end, and it turns out she's being attacked by an unborn fetus that's attached to the guy's body, and then it crawls back into the guy's body, doesn't it? And pops out of her body or something. I don't know. It's just, basket case.
Somehow it was inside her, and she didn't know it.
Yeah, well, it escaped him and climbed into her. It went up her hoonie. That's in the pink version. Is when it crawls up her snatch, like the blood sucking monkeys from West Mifflin.
The pink version. That's the Japanese definition of a movie that had explicit sex in it, right?
Right. Yes.
But not all. Sometimes mosaiced out, and you don't.
Not necessarily a porno film, but just something that had, exploitative content.
Their censorship in Japan is it's very odd because I mean, if I'm not mistaken, they have issues with certain nudity, but they don't with like super violence, right?
This was super violent.
Right, they mosaic all body parts below the navel.
Right.
They fade them out. And the main character in this race is Rei Segura, who was actually an AV idol, which is what they call Japanese adult stars. But a lot of AV idols never did outright pornography. They do like, nude scenes in movies and stuff as well.
Right, gotcha.
But she was really well known when this came out. I kind of like that. My favorite part about this is they keep saying like, for people that can't sleep, that's what this show's for. And it's like, the show is pretty wild. Like, I don't think it's not going to lull you to sleep if you watch Nami's show.
Right. Exactly.
How much fluid is in an eyeball, Bill? That's a question that I had.
Oh my God. Movie. Apparently it's just full of, Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah. Why Crystal Pepsi? That's an odd choice.
They love it in Japan.
Is it still available? It's still
available. Cristaro Pepsi.
It's still available. Well, it's a nation that buys Kentucky Fried Chicken for Christmas, for Christ's sake.
Which
is great because the guy who came up with that completely admits that he just invented it. He told people in Japan that that's what American people eat for Christmas.
Yes, and
it's stuck with them.
Yes.
For years, because I've had my friends over there be like, "Did you get Kentucky Fried Chicken for Christmas?" Yep. And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." But yep.
And by the time they found out what the truth was, it was already a tradition.
Sure, why not?
I think it's a great tradition. I could eat KFC at any time.
It's crazy. It sells out everywhere. You have to put orders in advance. The stores just simply sell out. It was probably worse during the whole pandemic.
They have Coca-Cola in Japan that's flavored like roses.
Yep, and especially Kit Kats are hundreds of flavors of Kit Kats.
I always like the green. I like the green tea ones.
Yeah,
you don't really get many of that stuff. Much of that stuff really crossing over. It's funny because when you go shopping at the Asian stores, very little Japanese treats are here. It's mostly all Chinese stuff and Thai stuff or whatever, or Korean in particular. But it's kind of hard to come across Japanese snacks. You just don't have it.
In Squirrel Hill, there's the Panda supermarket in Squirrel Hill that has a pretty fair amount of Japanese stuff.
I've been to that, yeah.
There was a place in Shadyside called Tokyo. And I used to take Makita there when he lived with me. And they had all kinds of unusual snacks there. Mostly little tiny dried fish. Yeah. It was just like the entire fish with the eyeball and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's seaweed's wonderful too.
I tried seaweed and I can't do it. I wanted to like the seaweed, but I didn't.
It's a taste.
That's where we got our first Japanese wrestling tapes, and they wouldn't teach you because we were gaijin foreigners. They wouldn't teach you the kanji for wrestling. So until we learned it ourselves and asked for it, that's the only way they would rent it to us. Like you had to prove that like they were like the Kim's Video of Japanese rental stores when Tokyo used to rent videotapes.
Right.
Darren bailed after 3 minutes because of the torture scene. That's a shame because that really is the only torture scene per se in the entire film.
Well, go read the plot, Darren. I mean, I'm sure it's on Wikipedia, so have a go at it on the Wikipedia.
Well, there are torturous scenes in the rest of the movie too, so maybe it's good that you bailed.
Well, you know, as I was watching this, it's amazing how, you know, this predates Saw by how many decades? You know what I mean? And
one.
And it's very clever because, you know, you're trapped in this. You know that you've seen the movie, you know the plot now, but you're trapped in this like isolated place with was like Saw, and people are, you know, you think you're out of the trap, and then it chops, the machete hits her in the head when she trips over. That scene in particular. You know, the most brutal fucking killing in the whole movie is the lasso that comes down and pulls the girl over top of the car, and then for me, the cream on the cake was, or the icing on the cake was when her neck hits the ground. You saw that, and you're like, "Fuck! It's gonna be the most horrible thing in the world." Yeah, I mean, and then Saw came along, and I watched all the Saw movies over my Christmas vacation, and I had only seen like the first 2 or 3, and I thought, you know what, I gotta see all these films, including the spin-off ones, and they were unbelievably tedious. I mean, it's not a series that I enjoyed. It's like it was the same murders over and over again. And you know what, Sam, if you watch them back to back the way I did, they made complete sense.
I did too.
If you watch them over the course of 10 years, how the fuck are you supposed to remember any of the details when they're pulling shit out of their ass? I mean,
it's really like Rashomon, where like each of the movies kind of goes back, like,
correct.
Remember this too, and it's like, and then characters, spoiler, come back that you thought were dead in other movies. It's like the last one, the Chris Rock one, was intolerable.
Absolutely,
I know it's one of those things. I like it, but it was not a good movie. It's like but they sold so many of them, so I mean, there's people that do like them.
It's sort of like, remember that woman that was standing on that street corner in number 4 who saw what happened, and now she's crazy, and
she was in on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, I have to say, I guess it's very clever. It's very clever writing. But, you know, I was in the movie theater for the first one, and because of the logic of the entire thing, and, you know, I'm pretty good with details, I knew the killer was on the floor because he wasn't supposed to be there. Everything was logically laid out. And then I turned to somebody in the theater and I said, "That's the killer on the floor." And like these people like were in the surrounding area went like that. Like, I guess I ruined it for him. But I mean, how fucking stupid could you be not to know the guy is the killer? You know?
I don't know. I must be fucking stupid because
did you not know that? I'm sorry to insult you then.
I think, Gene, it's the other way around. Yeah, and the people that were annoyed with you had very good reason.
Of course I did. I always ruin movies for everybody. I figure out in the first 5 minutes. You guys, you do the same thing a lot too, because you know what? Once you watch these films all these years, there's only so many, you know, rational explanations, and it keeps coming back the same thing over and over again. Right.
I was mystified by those things that came up through the floor and pierced the first victim. What was that about? It was just like interdimensional spears.
Got her good. They got her real good. They killed her good. Killed her real good.
Someone went through a lot of work to make that videotape and to lure the people there. And like you said, Bill, while we were watching it, you're like, why is she just like throwing in her lot with this guy, the face painted dude that comes out of nowhere? You know what I mean? Like, it's like let's, obviously stuff's fucked up. Like, just get out. But we wouldn't have a movie otherwise. I realize it.
I questioned the motivation of every character in this film because no one did anything that made any sense. First of all, they receive a fucking snuff tape in the mail, and instead of going to the police, they're like, "Oh, let's go to where this tape was made, and once we're there, we'll split up and we'll all go off in our own directions, and we'll be just be alone."
Right, absolutely.
It's funny because, it's like I said before, these movies eventually get into the guinea pig movies where it's like there's no plot at all. It's just gore scenes and like people getting kidnapped and killed, and it's like an hour. And Charlie Sheen actually had those tapes and thought they were real snuff and alerted the FBI, which is hilarious. He's like, you have to come get this VHS tape that I have. And they're like, but they show how the movie affects right after the movie, Charlie. And he's like, no, these are real snuff. So,
but similar
anybody would
to other Japanese movies too. I mean, they all seem to go back to something that happened in the past. I mean, not that that's not call them an element in horror films, but I mean, it's always like a mother and child or brothers or whatever. I mean, but I don't think anybody really saw the unformed fetus coming their way until it pops out. And it's like, what the fuck are they thinking about this?
I think a lot of Japanese horror is based on the fact that, like, once something bad happens in your family, you're supposed to forget about it, and you know what I mean, and not dwell on it, and like kind of cover up the past, and you're taught not to talk about trauma, right. So trauma becomes these overwhelming things. This movie is just about fetuses and murder and whatever it is about,
right?
And cigarette lighters.
I mean, always cigarette lighters,
right?
I didn't.
Everybody in Japan smokes that outside of like Nikita. Everybody else I met, it's just like nonstop smoking.
That's too bad.
So I'm thinking about what happens to her TV show after this? I mean,
the ratings are through the
where
roof.
does Nami go from here? Right.
It was too bad that birthing sequence didn't happen live on the air. Because that would have.
She would have turned into a white werewolf and said, "Look, this is really happening." Why did they shoot her? Like, I don't know. That's my only problem with the Howling.
Yeah, that ending was really bad. I think a lot of people have addressed it with him, and that's just what he wanted. I thought.
Why do they kill her? I mean, she was in on it.
She's obviously in control of her functions. She's not a wild animal.
Yeah.
Why did she look like a dog, like a little happy poodle?
She did. She's
a cute girl werewolf.
She grew up to live in Bill's house.
She did. She's sleeping right now, but I can't bring her on camera.
But imagine maybe Nami has a new co-host for her show. Her giant human-sized fetus can host her show. She's like having trouble sleeping, and then the fetus goes, "Meow," and then everybody stays awake.
Yeah.
I love that sex was on the table for some of these characters in this disgusting, filthy, abandoned place where a snuff video was shot.
Right.
And they got fully naked too. They weren't just, keeping their clothes on and doing it. Since when does that happen?
I mean, sometimes people get afraid. They get fear boners.
And boners.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, I was more shocked by the dirtiness of it, the filthiness of it.
My favorite scene is when she's running down that hallway and things are exploding, because knowing both Japanese films and the budget of this movie, those were going off really close to her. Like, it wasn't like any fear at her on how she's like going like this from him. That's really true fear.
But she stayed in character.
I mean, of course.
I'm gonna have to watch the sequels now because I don't remember.
Two, I like 2 a lot. 2 is like more Italian, even if possible.
There's an overflow from the characters, or
I have completely different creative teams too.
So the fetus doesn't grow up and become an evil masked.
Oh, if only
it escaped.
It escaped.
It's living in it's my brother living in a basket.
It's like
hanging out with another little thing that lives in your neck stem below.
It's the literal,
right.
It's the literal dark half. Like if the absorbed twin from the dark half had been able to crawl out, but instead it was like a ghostly type thing that happened.
I have 1 and 2 on DVD. I'm going to pull out the second one and watch it this week. John or I can't read Ortiz. Sorry, John. My contacts are going. Said it's way out.
Yeah, I don't know why I never watched the sequels. Bad on me, because I love.
I really like the second one an awful lot.
Yeah.
Here's my dark half. Come here, little dark half.
Oh, there he is.
He said, "Prepare for me at the drive-in."
That's the
Prepare
one.
for me to
Oh, I'm
thank you."
prepared for you. I just
He's
look at you and I say hello, and that's all. I don't touch you.
Yeah.
Give me a fry. Give me a chili.
Dogs will
chili
eat your
fry.
fingers right off.
He will
Then
take.
you know that kid's going to try to pet him again this year. There's a kid every year. It's like, "Can I pet your dog?" And I say, "No, no." And then I go, "What?" And he goes,
Yeah.
Is that the girl? Is that the girl that looks like she's from Hereditary?
"Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I made you a pie." "No, I don't want it."
Did she say that to you?
No.
It's the same girl every year.
It's the same girl every year. Soon she'll be wearing flowers on her head.
She would have been here tonight.
A rock.
She would have been here tonight, but she got her head knocked off coming down the road.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of a head getting knocked off, there was a decapitated head in this movie, but I don't remember a decapitation.
No.
We just cut back to it. It's like, hey, boom.
There's a random head lying around.
I wanted to ask you guys about that because I don't know what I thought maybe I missed something.
No,
it just shows up.
So
They must have just had it laying around the effects room. Like, throw that head in there.
I think there was an overusage. I mean, now maybe I'm blurring the films, but wasn't there an overusage of like fireworks?
Yeah, but I kind of dug that.
Yeah, that's an
Fireworks
element you don't
are scary.
expect.
Yeah. Like, are you not afraid of gore and traps? How about fireworks? Cubby hated it. He hates all fireworks. So he said it's very scary. Evil Dead Trap, frightening as hell. That's his review.
I gotta watch 2. I gotta watch 2 now. So in 3,
Yeah, I think you'll dig it.
what's 3 like?
I haven't seen 3, believe it or
Is
not.
it more recent?
Yeah. Let me look. Or maybe I've seen too many movies, obviously, at this point.
Google that.
They start to blur together.
Ain't that the truth?
It would be weird if Evil Dead Trap 1 was the more recent film.
Yeah.
I think I heard something about a reboot for that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3's called Broken Love Killer. It's from 93.
Okay.
And it is not connected to the series in any way. They just took the title.
Oh, well.
Yeah, well, I mean, God damn it, Demons and and House and every other movie that I'm obsessed with does the
You're
same
absolutely
thing.
right. Yep.
Demon 6 in Profundus. Black Demons.
Is that
the
that
Ogre.
film's awful? Which one was the Ogre? Was that 5?
That was 3, wasn't it?
No, 3 was the church. 4 was the sect with Jamie Lee Curtis's sister. So maybe 5 was Ogre. I think.
Well, I think they both use 3. Tell you the truth. I mean, I wrote it. I'll tell you, I have it written down.
They changed. It seems like they changed the numbers on them in some places. The Ogre one really isn't bad. I mean, it's
a TV movie. It's the original script for A House by the Cemetery.
Yes, yeah.
It
wasn't produced for an Italian TV series at the time that Argento was or Bava was involved with. That was like a weekly.
Yeah, Yellow Thrill.
Huh?
Yellow Thrill. Ravidi Gialli. Yeah, Demons 3 is the Ogre.
Thank you.
Black Demons is also Demons 3.
I remember reading. When is the church then?
The church was originally thought to be one, but it was never. But Lamberto was the only person that wanted to make Demons 3, so
it's sort of like turned into its own thing, the church, and it stopped being a Demons sequel.
Mask of the Demon is 5, which is the remake of Black Sunday that Lamberto did for TV.
Okay. Yeah.
Demons 4 is La Secta. You're correct. Demons 6 is the Black Cat, the Luigi Cosi movie.
Yep.
And there's Demons 95, which is Cemetery Man. It was released as that on video. And then there's Demonia was sold in Japan as New Demons. The movie Dark Tower was sold in Japan as Demon 7, The Inferno. And then my favorite weird Demons tie-in is The Gang and Nightmare Beach all have the Demons movie logo on the back of their jacket.
So, but what was number 7 then? The Tower one was released in Italy.
Dark Tower. It's not even an Italian movie.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the I can't remember who directed it. The same guy that directed American Gothic.
Okay. Yeah.
Hammer director. Oh, brain dead today. And then don't even get me started on the La Casa and the numbering of La Casa, which also goes into Witchery, which also goes into Ghost House, which also goes into Evil Dead.
I think Ghost House is 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it what? How are the numbers on that one? Isn't 5?
It's La Casa's Evil Dead, La Casa 2's Evil Dead 2.
Right.
Ghost House is 3, Witchery's 4, Beyond Darkness is 5,
yeah.
which is also Evil Dead.
Right.
Beyond House 2, the second story in America, is La Casa 6, and then the horror show, which is House 3 in America, is
sorry guys,
La Casa 7, yeah. And then what's funny is House in Italy is called Who's Buried in the House, and then there's House 4 is the only one that's called House in Italy. So it's a mess. It's a mess, as they say, to try to put them all together. And it's also called the last House 4 is also called Who Killed Roger in Italy, and the logo looks exactly like Who Killed Roger Rabbit, but on a house poster.
Okay, that's weird.
Shameless.
Anything to get you in the theater, right?
I mean, it's almost like they ripped someone else's idea off.
I like Ghost House, actually. I think it's one.
It's real good.
Yeah, it was one of those rentals from Incredibly Strange Video back in the day. You know, and it's a ripoff of Poltergeist in so many ways. You know, sort of. You know.
Oh, I'm a big lover of Ghost House. It's ridiculous, and the music in it. There's also a whole scene where they talk about Simon Le Bon for a long period on a ham radio.
The one with my song.
Yeah, it's one with your song in it. Yeah.
Simon Le Bon.
Yeah.
No Nick Rhodes?
Yeah. Do the kids still talk about Simon Le Bon? Who's hotter? I can't remember who they. There's like a whole sequence where they talk about American. It's like Italians making a movie in America. They want people to think it's American. Right. So like, what are the most American things we can talk about? Oh, Simon Le Bon from England.
And the house from the House by the Cemetery too, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Which is also another.
There's also the black character that they pick up at one point in the movie who like literally is like from a 30s movie. Like he's like eyeballs bugging out the whole movie. Then sadly he gets killed. Oh, it's so good.
I haven't seen Ghost. I just remember the theme music when the clown shows up.
Oh, I love it. It's pure junk, but in the best kind. I like Nightmare Beach for the same reason. It's such a dumb movie, but it's great.
Right. Those are the best kind.
Yeah, any Hitcher in the Dark, I feel the same way about. Any Italians in America making movies, I'm super for.
Making movies probably illegally, you know. It's like you ever some of those movies were, you know, I met the cast of, and it's a well-known fact, about Zombie, and I met the cast at Cinema Wasteland. Actually, if you watch the Blu-ray, I'm all over the Blu-ray. It's terrible. It's like I hired them to walk around and film me meeting people. I had no idea.
Yeah, I noticed that when I watched it.
Yeah, and I had no idea that I was even on that thing. I was kind of one of my friends said you should really contact that company and demand some sort of not payment, but something for the fact that you appear in like 75% of it. But anyway, they were saying about how all this filming was done in the United States illegally. Like they didn't obtain license for New York City or anything. And the ending on the Brooklyn Bridge, they filmed like at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning or whatever, and it's amazing when you see the scope of these scenes, how something like this would go unnoticed in New York. I mean, granted, New York in those days was a little louder than it is now, but I mean, don't you think somebody from the police force somewhere would have said, why are there 50 people dressed in zombie costumes walking across the Brooklyn Bridge?
The guy that played the guy that played the boat zombie, like the big guy that plays the big boat zombie that gets shot into the water.
Yeah.
There was a story about him. He went to CBGB's in his full makeup and no one looked at him twice.
Yeah, I believe it.
So that's how commonplace.
He was also the henchman in Night of Dark Shadows too. The guy that's in Night of Dark Shadows that is the henchman that takes Lara Parker off to have her hung and stuff. He appeared in a bunch of stuff. He was really popular. I think he was doing guest appearances at Chiller and stuff before he died. His name was Captain something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't just pull it out of the air.
Right.
Here's something I want to show you guys. Here's some fun.
Oh,
I just pulled up some fun stuff from the page lately, and this ran earlier in the week. How awesome is that for a triple?
Yeah.
I'm 100% behind all of those movies. I love Superstition.
Windsor, where? Where are we at? What Windsor?
This is Hartford.
Okay.
And they spelled cemetery wrong, but that's okay. It's not like I'm going to.
Or is that the Canadians?
It's not like I'm going to point it out or anything. And yeah, to add Night of the Living Dead to this lineup, that would look like the most tame movie on the bill compared to the other two.
Oh yeah,
right.
Here's a contender for one of my most wanted Blu-ray releases.
Excuse me.
Oh, Gene, do you want us to let you go?
No, I'm good.
This is one of my most wanted Blu-rays.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's a Gene. Do you know this one?
Last Rites.
You know this one. It's the one about the mortician who is a vampire, and it's set in a small town. There's a mortician that's the vampire, and there are other vampires in the town too, and they create traffic accidents. I think a policeman is a vampire.
That's a rare film, actually. Yeah.
And they create traffic accidents and other accidents, and then they kill the victims and drink their blood and then stake them so there are no rival vampires in the town. But one gets away from them and rises, and trouble ensues.
What year was that?
1980.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking that up.
I'm gonna
right
check
now.
it out.
It's
David the Vampire playing too.
Oh, yeah.
How can you?
And young Dracula, aka
Yep.
Andy Warhol's Dracula.
Yeah, the trailer's on here. Canon Films Countdown, blah, 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 blah. Is Randy Quaid in this movie? No, that's a different film.
No, this is...
Gosh, wouldn't it be better if he was, though?
This has got nobody in it that you've ever heard of.
I remember the film, yeah.
There's a crazy old lady in it, and she's been in some stuff.
And Mike says it was on Paragon Home Video. That's where I remember it from.
Yeah. It was it's a real treat. And it really has had no decent home presentation. There is a VHS, of course, but they present it in the wrong ratio. And you can see the edges of the set, and like the boom mic is always hanging, and it's hard to suspend your disbelief. And
I love the H on that Hartford, by the way, Bill, on the bottom, the way that it pops out there.
Oh yeah,
it's beautiful.
It's inspiration. Here's one that we were talking about on the other segment.
Oh, what a double feature!
Yeah, those two movies were linked. The Minx and Codename Trixie, aka the Crazies.
Yeah, I like that. It's a Rivoli theater.
Yeah, they play together in a lot of different cities. And I don't know which title I like better, Codename Trixie or the Crazies.
Yeah. I think it depends on which one you heard under first, because that's the beauty of them.
Right.
The mad people.
I just I could look at stuff like this forever. I've been doing this page for years and years and years, and you would think I would be tired of it by now, but
there's so much to look at, and regionally the name changed so often that it's
Yeah, woe be if your movie had blood in the title. It will play in New England as a completely different title.
Yeah. Because I know George isn't in the chat anymore. At least if he is, I didn't see him.
No, he's out.
But here's one of his faves, Horror Hospital.
Oh yeah, he says that's still coming to the drive-in, in Vandergrift at some point. He still wants to do Horror Hospital.
Well, it's about time.
The school that
feels like a Bill triple feature right there.
What in the world was the school that couldn't scream? What was that?
Sam.
Is it? I don't know.
It's one of your favorites. We just saw it at the drive-in at Giallo Palooza.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The one Oh,
It was the first movie.
that's exactly what I was
Really?
gonna say, the one drug.
Solange?
Cinematography.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you told me that actually.
yeah, that's Solange.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Solange has to be one of the movies that has the most alternate titles ever, because
That and Let Sleeping Corpses Lie.
yeah. But I mean, Solange had 8 different titles in the United States alone.
Oh, and it was sold as a comedy and
A,
a horror movie or
a sex
detective
comedy.
movie.
It was sold as the Rah Rah Girls, and also a sex movie, Come Teach Me.
Yeah.
I just found that one. Someone
Come teach me.
Come Teach Me. Can you imagine?
Come teach me about knives.
Yeah. Sex and Murder, Daddy.
You always see the same ad for the Eyes of Laura Mars, but here's a variation that I kind of like.
Ooh.
Faye shows off those dangerous poses that only a fashion photographer can get into.
God, that movie is ridiculous.
It really is.
Well, I looked up the other alternate titles too for you.
Wait, what?
Some other Solange titles for you. The Secret of the Green Pens.
Oh yeah,
Terror in the
What
Woods.
the
Terror in the Woods. I know that one.
Foul Play.
Foul Play.
Yeah, starring Chevy Chase.
Yeah, who killed Solange?
Yeah, I heard that one.
And that's a Blood
Blood
Relations.
Relations.
Yeah.
That's the one I can never remember.
Yeah, Come Teach Me.
Oh, here's a Notorious, AKA.
And it was sold as an Edgar Wallace movie in Germany, even though it's not an Edgar Wallace movie.
That's awful. Why would they do that?
Because movie guys are
I
scummy.
mean, really, because I
No.
don't think that sort of even has an Edgar Wallace flair to it whatsoever. I mean,
No, it doesn't.
no, right?
So how about this one?
You made it through these two, but wow, Bill, that is another triple bill feature right there.
Yep.
Gene, do you know what movie that is when the screaming stops?
Lorelei.
Yes.
I'm an Armando DeSoro expert. That's a great film. Have you guys ever shown the Lorelei's Grasp? Have you ever shown that on
No.
It's completely crazy.
It sure is. You know, when it was first released in the United States in 1974, it had the title "The Swinging Monster."
Yeah, it's a crazy film.
Draw your own conclusions about the
Yeah,
intentions.
I know,
of
but
it.
it's just right. But it's just the whole thing's
It's
just
swinging, baby.
it's another movie that's an Italian film. It's way out there, you know. It really is. I mean, it's like, you know, it's undefinable.
There's a positive thing though. You'll never sleep alone again after watching this.
That's true.
You could take it that you're going to get a date.
I mean, I know people that would pay for that kind of shit.
Yeah, I know that none of those films have anything to do with it. So you survive all those, and then you end up in a weird Italian or Spanish fantasy film.
How about
I love everything about this, Bill.
3 on a Waterbed?
But also, which one became a star? Not which one.
Oh my god!
Listen, remember how I said in the earlier segment about how I remember seeing Silent Scream at the drive-in?
Yeah.
This was the second feature.
Whoa.
3 on a Waterbed, and I can still remember the opening of this film, and I've never seen it since. There was like this groovy, like kind of psychedelic theme song that actually had lyrics, and the chorus was 3 on a waterbed, and it was sung over these still images of a woman, and it would focus on like a different part of her nude body for each shot. And
that sounds shockingly frank.
Oh, it was really different. And my mom made a sleeve in 3 seconds.
Yeah, of course she did.
I don't blame her, really. But this.
Yeah, I mean, if you went to school the next day, you're like, guess what I saw this weekend? 3 on a waterbed.
I don't blame her one bit. But listen, it really is not a porn film, even despite that opening that I described. This is more of like a psychological drama. There's nudity in it, but it's called The Session.
Okay.
The original title was The Session. It's like a 2-person play, really.
Right.
So I don't know where they get 3. on a waterbed because I think there's only really.
It just sounds better than two on a waterbed. Like I've seen that. 3 on a waterbed feels dangerous. I've been 1 on a waterbed and it's no fun. I mean, much less 2. It's just horrible. How did people sleep on these never unmoving surfaces?
I don't know. I don't like it, and you know, they just keep backing water beds up into a normal bed. There's like first we had the water bed, and it's like, oh yeah, like then there's like the heated water bed, and then we got like the motionless water bed. It's like you're getting closer and closer to a normal mattress. Eventually, you'll get.
I remember I stayed at someone's house once when I was young, and they said, "Oh, they have a water bed in their guest room." I'm like, this is awesome. So you know, I'd never slept on one. 10 minutes into it, I'm like, this is why it's in the guest bed.
Yeah,
I didn't like them either. I didn't think they were all that fantastic either. I had a friend that had one for years, well into the 90s probably. I just thought it was awful.
Yeah,
there was whole stores that sold water beds in the 70s
and drugs.
Like they were all over UHF TV.
Heads Together,
100%
in Squirrel Hill.
Yep.
What a weird combination. Head shop and waterbed.
Can't believe this is going to finally come out on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Oh.
It shouldn't be long now. And
May, May, isn't it?
Oh, really? That's great.
I thought it was May.
Yeah, it's like end of May for the halfway to Black Friday sale. It'll finally be out.
The Vinegar Syndrome release is going to be stunning, and I know I've mentioned it before, but maybe there's someone out there who didn't hear it yet. The version that they're putting out is Pat Carty's private 16mm print that he got from Canon to shop it around for, you know, a distributor, and it had some extra gore in it. So there's going to be stuff in it that we haven't seen yet. Probably just like a few frames.
Yeah, but that's still cool, a complete version and on Blu-ray for the first time. So
yeah,
there's supposed to be extra footage too for Shriek of the Mutilated.
Really?
But nothing. It's a combination. They supposedly have the multiple versions and they're morphing them together or something, and there may be a few seconds here and there.
Yeah.
It's not going to be anything major. It's going to be some minor stuff that they talked about doing that movie for such a long time, and then they said they could never find the elements, and then somehow they did find the elements. So, and it will have it's going to be complete with popcorn, of course.
Yeah.
Unlike the other Fred Olen Ray that put out that horrible. I guess he put out the popcorn one later somehow. I heard. I don't know.
Yeah, you could never get them all in the same place, but finally we will
right.
have them all in the same place.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Here's an interesting one. Last House Part 2. I know Sam knows what this movie is, but do you, Gene?
Probably an Italian spin-off film.
Well, that's what they want you to think, but actually it's Mario Bava's Bay of Blood.
Yeah, I've actually heard that before.
Or Night Train Murders.
Yeah, I knew that too.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Night Train Murders.
Well, it is. It just depended on where you saw it. It could either be Bay of Blood or Night Train Murders, which no one, even the people that distributed it, didn't know what movie they were advertising.
Can a movie go too far?
And it had the Pataki Cinderella with it too.
And I have the first.
Those people, those scary looking people that are along the bottom of that Last House Part 2 ad, they're from the Messiah of Evil poster.
Yeah, sure are.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, a movie can go too far when you don't know which movie it's going to be.
It's kind of like, you know, where there were different endings to the movie Clue.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Oh, let's see it all.
It's crazy too. Look how many films. The little girl that lives down the lane, followed by Cherry. It's weird. It's a weird combination because like that Jodie Foster movie doesn't belong with any of these other films, and Cherry Hill High and Cinderella. It should be Cinderella, S-I-N, Cinderella.
It's just across the street from Joe.
I've never seen Joe referenced
that's
with
weird.
Last House.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I didn't know what Joe was. I had to educate myself. A couple years ago, I noticed that in there. I'm like, what are they talking about? Who's Joe?
A movie completely saved in the editing, yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah, they re-edited all the scenes. Joe was not even a major character in the original cut of the movie. They had to go back in and they took all his speeches. His speeches were so excited people so much they actually put out an album of just his speeches.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, it's all they pumped up some of the scenes, they moved stuff around. Different ending. They kind of cut some stuff, but yeah, it's a script doctor. The same guy that did for Canon, the what's the one with the guy who has the blowtorch in the van? Is it The Executioner 2?
Oh, right, right.
Same script doctor.
Don't Go in the House.
No, it's an action movie, yeah. Well, there we talked about this earlier, Bill.
House of Psychotic Women. Yeah, we sure did. And Blood Brides, the second feature, is Hatchet for the Honeymoon.
Oh,
right.
And this was one of the only times that I could find an ad for it playing under that title in the United States.
We screened House of Psychotic Women at Monsterama.
Was this one of the ones that we saw?
I thought we did. Did we do House of Psychotic Women? It's not the Nashi one. That's
This is Nashi. Yeah, it sure is.
House of Psychotic Women. We did that.
I remember now.
Nash Horror Night.
Yeah, that was when Joe Rude came. That was the first one that Joe Rude went to.
Ronquillo, he really got chuckle on that one. If George was here, I'd let him imitate him, but I can't do it without laughing. He was like, House of Psychotic Women. It's worth the entry, buddy, just for that. Or something like that. He said something that was this really funny quote. He has, of course, the guy I'm talking about, Steven's a good friend of mine. He has like a southern accent, but the way he said it was like we were on his show and I couldn't stop laughing. I was going to choke to death. He keeps saying Nashi.
Oh, look at that double feature.
That's beautiful. Wow.
That's not Herschel Gordon Lewis's Blood Feast, though. Do you know what it is?
No. With Barbara Boucher in it? It is. Oh. Because I recognized her face. It is. Is it Red Queen Kills 7 times?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. God, how did I ever get laid knowing this much?
I love Cauldron of Blood, by the way.
I don't think I've seen that.
I got it on Blu-ray, in fact. I love it. It's just...
What's the plot? Maybe I did.
He's a sculptor. It's one of the Spanish Karloff films where, he was like in a wheelchair and practically blind, or he was when he filmed it. Remember they made those movies that were very, what's the word I'm looking for? He filmed all these movies that came out after he was dead, and I think people still thought he was alive. He's a sculptor, and they make it's the old human bones thing. I just liked it. I liked the quality of it. They go to weird psychedelic parties, and it's just I remember seeing it as a kid and thinking, wow, this is great. So I was so excited to get the Blu-ray when it came out, and you always saw it in a double feature with the movie that Michael what's his name was in. Help me out, guys. What was it called? The one with Michael, the British actor that was in Trog and all the other films. I'm drawing.
Michael Go.
Yeah, it was that other film where they try to kill him. The family tries to kill him. What's it called? Crucible of Terror or Horror? One of those.
Oh, okay.
It was only.
You know what's crazy about Cauldron of Blood? They took all the incidental music from it and used it on the Shazam TV
I did not know that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Shazam.
Here's another fantastic one.
Oh man. Let's stay up all night and watch all those.
I think I saw Food of the Gods and Empire of the Ants back to back.
Yeah. I could cut The Island of Dr. Moreau out and I'd be fine.
Yeah. You don't like Michael York?
No, that's one I did see at the drive-in, The Island of Dr. Moreau, and I got bored with it and went to sleep in the back seat. But Empire of the Ants, poor Joan Collins.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys saw the new documentary that BBC did a documentary with her. It just came out like about a month ago.
I saw it on her Facebook, but I haven't watched it.
And she talks about what a horrible piece of shit that movie was. He's like, then I did this movie with these giant ants. What the fuck was I thinking? You know,
it doesn't hold up to the artistic integrity of Dynasty.
No, but she had to say she was the first one in the group that was like, you know, mind controlled by the ant farting on her.
Yeah, well, I don't blame.
She's like,
feeling a little humiliated by that.
And then a little person possessed me. His name was Hercules.
Yeah, she didn't bring that up. Isn't that funny? That movie was much more offensive than really.
Yeah, that's got to be worse.
That's way worse than Empire of the Ants.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
She's got a lot of nerve, that Joan Collins.
Oh, Joan Collins.
I think she said that the filming locations and stuff for that movie were horrible. I think she was bitching about the water and how humid it was, and she was miserable, and there were mosquitoes biting them constantly. There was something that she was carrying on about.
Food of the Gods is pretty awesome too. I like that one. You know what death in that movie really upsets me is when the rats get that guy in the Volkswagen.
Yeah.
It looks stupid, but it's still kind of vicious. It's really shocking.
And I was upset that Zsa Zsa Gabor wasn't in it, or whoever, Eva Gabor.
Huh?
I really like the clip art in this. The sun behind dawn, the face on the moon. There's a lot going on in this ad. It's a lot of good stuff.
It's beautiful.
The tombstone looking drive-in.
The Dust Till Dawn adventure. Damn it.
Oh.
Tentacles.
Midnight Show. I mean, yes.
I still haven't watched my Tentacles Blu-ray yet.
I just watched it again, Bill.
No, you guys really?
You buy the new reissued one from Kino.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't gotten that yet.
It's great. I watch it just for the scenes where what's her name's wearing her hat, and they're like, she's so excited about finding her son, and the other lady's like, no, my son's not here. I just watch that scene a lot.
Yeah.
It's playing at the Jerry Lewis Theater too, which is awesome.
Well, you know, that was a movie I picked for the Monsterama, the April Ghouls that didn't happen in 2020. That was one of the ones I picked, and George was very resilient to have that film, and it was very expensive compared to the other releases. So, but you know, we thought. He says tentacles burn that drive-in down. No, the whole theme of that night at the drive-in, Mike, was like water films, wasn't it? What do we have scheduled that night? I don't remember. We had tentacles, we had piranha, humanoids from the deep, and there was one other film.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the shark one you wanted?
No. George decided not to do that one after all, Tintorero.
Yeah.
But, I forget what the other one was, but it never happened.
Right.
That's when it happened to be planned for April 2020.
Yeah, there's still some movies we haven't shown yet from that. You know, I think we moved to 2020 September. We moved Legend of Boggy Creek, and I think that was the only salvage from the whole thing. Piranha, we still want to do Piranha really bad. We still want to do Humanoids from the Deep really bad because we got a lot of people ask about them, you know. So we'll see.
Gene, it was awesome having you on the show tonight.
Thanks, Bill, and thanks, Sam. I appreciate it, and you know, I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. I can't believe that we're already practically, you know, we're halfway through April, so it's. There's a lot to do. I will tell you guys, the soundtrack for this show is going to be 80s metal. So we're very excited about that. You know, it all started because I ran ads on Instagram for the T-shirt using "Living After Midnight" by Judas Priest. That's how the whole thing started. And I said to George, I said, you know what? I think we should do all like, you know, metal, 80s, popular 80s metal, and some, you know, more rarer stuff. And he's like, absolutely. So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be.
We're not going to hear "Scream and Scream Again."
You know, that's what he wants every year.
I listen to it all the time in my car, so you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, we've used that an awful lot. I think you'll hear some Blue Oyster Cult probably thrown back in for good measure, but we're going to see Def Leppard and White Snake and all that stuff. You know, Iron
Sorcery.
Huh?
Sorcery. They were in a bunch of metal horror movies. You can do them. You can do King Cobra. You can do Fast Away because they did all the music for Trick or Treat.
Right. Yeah.
I want to hear Kicks.
Oh, yeah.
I want to hear
Kid Tested, Mother Approved.
I want to hear Sleazebees.
Sleazebees, Shark Island,
White Lion. No, White Lion. Leopard. We're gonna hear Def Leppard for sure.
Armageddon.
No, I like Photograph.
Yeah, the second album's really good too. Trucking Through the Night.
Yes,
High and Dry.
Absolutely.
Really
Hanging on the Heartache.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't listen to anything before Pyromania.
I wasn't really a big, you know, it's so funny because I wasn't really a big fan of that kind of music in the 1980s, but I think that Pyromania and Def Leppard resonated with a lot of different, you know, people, and I was one of them. I thought it was a well-produced, Mutt Lange produced it. The album is tight as shit. Joe Elliott is fucking the iconic rock and roller of the 80s. You can't get anything better than Joe Elliott with a mullet, tight leather pants, and a cut-off Union Jack shirt, strutting his shit. You know, it's like
Mutt Lange's production was practically electronica when you get right down to it. I'll never forget. I heard an interview with the Pet Shop Boys once, and they were talking about their new album coming out, and they were asking about who worked on it. They're like, "Oh, we have this guy that came in and like did our drum programming for us, and he had just coming off the, well, should we say it? The Def Leppard album." He was like
he did AC/DC before that too.
He did
yeah.
Who did he work on before that?
AC/DC.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
It's funny because in the writer who wrote Juno, in her book she wrote before she was a stripper for a year, and she said all Mutt Lange produced songs are made for stripping. Like the beats in them are perfectly made for how close they are.
Shania Twain.
Yeah. And everything he did, he's like very he's got a formula, but it works. Also, the Pyromania has like 9 singles on it. Like there's like not a song that didn't get played.
It's like Thriller.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's the Thriller of hair metal.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it was out for like 5 or 6 years too, because you know, the drummer Rick Allen got injured in between the albums. It was a big album.
Yeah, definitely.
I listened to it a lot, and the stuff after it's not bad either. But
I like the song "Animal" a lot. I think it's a lot of fun.
Women's a good song too. It's got
it's highly addictive. The formula is totally there. You know,
they're like Dead or Alive. Every one of their songs sounds the same.
Exactly.
Like Women.
It's a guitar tone
Rocket,
too. Their guitar tone is really great. Yeah.
Rocket and Women are practically the same song with different words.
You know why they're so addictive is because they have parts where all the music fades down and it's just like that little like sing along part happens. Like yeah,
like arena rock right out of the can.
Oh, it's the most arena rock. It's pretty great. Put on some Dokken on this list too.
Yeah,
put some
we went Into the Fire.
Oh, Into the Fire is good too.
Yeah,
there's some good stuff.
The fucking Dokken album with Into the Fire is really a good album. You know,
there goes Sam. It's not a show until we lose Sam for a second.
Alan Arkus directed one of Dokken's videos. He did. I think he did Into the Fire actually. Yeah, he said he didn't have any fun directing it when I asked him. He's like, "How'd you know I did that one?"
Was he strapped to a pentagram or something? I mean, it was
Pentagram. Awesome. They're from Baltimore. I've seen them like 5 times in concert.
We'll do some Rat too.
Please do some Rat.
Yeah.
I saw them up. What's it called? Circles or whatever the fuck that place is up in North Hills. And the whole time I was there, I thought it was what's his name? That DJ, the Shock DJ. I'm drawing a blank. You know what I'm talking about.
Just don't do You're in Love. Do like Dance or something.
I'm trying to think of the guy who's the comedian that has the radio show. He has his own channel. Come on, guys.
Howard Stern.
I thought it was Howard Stern on stage during the entire Rat show. Yes.
Oh.
We just saw the lead singer from Rat in a movie last week, and it was called Escape from the Bronx.
What was it?
He looks a lot like the guy from Escape from the Bronx. Looks a lot like Stephen Pearcy.
Well, yeah, I'm sure.
Kind of like the love child of Stephen Pearcy and Steven Tyler.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
You know, if two dudes could have a baby together.
Well,
I mean, they could mix it up.
I'll tell you what, the Rat show was phenomenal. They really sounded spectacular. I mean, everything was great about it, except for the fact that he looked like, he didn't look like himself. So
that was a long time ago.
He didn't age
Yeah,
well.
it's like 30, 40 years ago. I mean, you can't expect every band. You can't expect Blackie Lawless to look like Blackie Lawless did in 1982.
You can't expect Axl Rose to look like anybody.
Everybody from Motley Crue.
Yeah. Well, Tommy Lee still looks real good. Mick Mars is some kind of golem that he always looked like that. He was always like 10 years older than those guys.
Right.
Yeah. And Ed says, I was a huge Pentagram fan. And any stoner metal or doom or 70s sounding metal is my kind of stuff.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Becca again reminded me how much older I am than her, because she was like, Aerosmith had albums out in the 70s, and I was like, yeah, there was a whole Aerosmith thing before they got back together. And she was like, I didn't know. And I was like, yeah.
Wow, some Cheap Trick on there too, stuff like that.
Ooh, we were just talking about Cheap Trick during the break.
I'm not putting a foreigner on it. We should put on what's that album? I'm trying to think of the name of it. The Escape album. Who did that? Who?
Journey.
Yeah, we should do Journey. God, that's awful.
I hate Journey.
I do too. Don't stop believing. Welcome to the Riverside.
They're a little too much like as serious about themselves as you two.
Don't worry, in the future we'll have a Japanese guy pretend like he's Steve or whatever.
Journey doesn't seem like they laugh very much.
That new guy, I don't like that new guy. I saw them on something and I thought they were awful. So
put some Slade on it. I would enjoy that.
Yes, Runaway.
Slade. Oh yeah, Runaway is awesome.
I used that on an ad on Instagram. I did.
Man.
And you know what? It was so funny because the people that were liking it and sending like the thumbs up and the messages were all UK people, and they were like, Slade, yeah, and like heavy metal fingers. I was like, yeah, because nobody in America remembers Slade whatsoever.
No,
they remember the Slade cover band Quiet Riot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing Quiet Riot for sure.
Well, you have to.
I know we're going to. That was one of the ones that
crazy now.
Huh?
Mama, we're all crazy now from.
Did they have any hits that weren't Slade songs?
No, they didn't. Mental Health, but.
Okay, yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They scored one of their own.
That was about it.
Yeah.
All right. So next weekend on the Drive-In Asylum double feature, we'll have Mike Justice, and he'll be hanging out with us. We're going to watch The Demon, the Australian sort of Halloween-esque sort of slasher thing, also known as Midnight. Yes, Cameron Mitchell, our dude, is going to be back on the Drive-In Asylum double feature. It's going to be fantastic. And the second one is going to be
Boarding House.
If
you were confused by any of the movies tonight, get ready. This Boarding House is wild.
Have you guys ever done Funeral Home?
No.
I wish
definitely a perspective.
I wish somebody would definitely put out a decent copy of that movie. I love that film.
South African. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I always thought it was Australian for some reason. Hey, Bill, real quick. Here's what came in this week.
It's like Australian, but not. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Grand Slam, which is has Janet Leigh and Klaus Kinski and Adolfo Celli in it. Another Kino thing.
I saw that listed.
Yeah, and then Bill got this already, but I got it this week. The 5.
What's different on that? I didn't buy that.
It's got almost all the same commentary tracks that got brought over. There's not really anything different other than it being on blue. So I think if you have the Vincent Price set, it's very similar.
Why that's being re-released, the first one.
Yeah, It has
with the new mask.
Tim Lucas did Rises Again commentary, and Justin Humphries,
Okay.
who did The Five's Companion, and then the Robert Fost is on the original movie, radio spot, TV spot, and trailers. But I just like getting them on. This package is really nice.
Yeah, it's very cool. I almost got that. That's Kino. Yeah,
Kino's been quietly putting out awesome stuff. I'm super excited because they're putting out Treasure of the Four Crowns in 3D, and their 3D releases have been awesome.
Good.
And is my canon love.
And they have a sale going on right now, the 22nd of the month, with Blu-rays down to $9.99, $10 shipping for under $50. So I took advantage of that. Make sure you guys check that out.
I have a whole cart full of stuff that I've been debating because do I need Revenge of the Ninja on Blu-ray? Yeah, probably. Do I need?
I bought Chosen Survivors, and I bought the 2 Doctor Who movies because I have the Studio Canal, whatever label that was, the British label, and I get tired of hitting the button to change the, change.
One of the Doctor Who movies is coming out on Blu-ray. I think Indicator's putting it out. Let me look it up real quick.
I just bought the 2. I just bought the 2 domestics.
Yeah, there's a huge. Exciting for me and probably me only. There's the Amityville set is getting re-released in the UK.
Funeral Home was Eldon. Funeral Home was Canadian. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
featuring Leslie Donaldson.
Hey, and if you live in Pittsburgh, nobody advertised it, but Stunt Rock's playing in town all weekend, and nobody advertised it.
So why is Indicator picking up the Doctor Who movie? Are they picking up the Doctor Who TV movie, or are they picking up the Amicus releases?
I think it's the Amicus ones. I'm trying here. There's a UHD steelbook of from Studio Canal. It comes out in July of Daleks Invasion 2150.
Yeah.
And then there's another one coming June 20th of Doctor Who and the Daleks. It's Studio Canal steelbook.
Okay, I have the Studio Canal originals.
And there's a Doctor Who and the Daleks 4K that comes with like pins and posters, lobby cards, and that comes out June 20th. As does both of them come out June and July. There's tons of extras.
This is like this would be like the Indicator Deluxe is what it would be.
Yeah.
Right? Like how they did it for Curse of the Demon and for It's a little bit more, and you get the book, and you get all the shit with it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Studio Canal, though. I thought they were Indicator, but yeah.
The films are actually from Amicus, believe it or not. There are 2 Amicus releases. A lot of people don't know that they were involved in that, but they were. And here's a fun fact, real quick.
Come on.
The Dalek spaceship from 2150 AD also appears in a Tygon film. And the name's eluding me, but it's these people are parachuting and they keep getting kidnapped. Is it called the Body Stealers? Yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that film? I have it as part of the Tygon release that came out on Anchor Bay years ago. I bought those box sets, and I've never seen the Body Stealers appear anywhere else.
No.
And it's a rare British science fiction film about people jumping out of planes and being turned into aliens.
I saw it on TV because they mistakenly listed it as the Body Snatchers.
Wow.
I was like, oh, well, I have to watch that. And it wasn't that movie.
I had no idea. Was that on Channel 53?
I don't remember.
Probably
Who
was.
knows?
Right.
Who knows? All right. Well, thanks again, Gene, for hanging out with us tonight.
Appreciate it. Happy Easter out there and Passover to everybody as well.
Yes, right on.
Food tomorrow.
And come back next week for the Demon from South Africa, not Australia.
I'm sorry to all Australians.
Sorry to blame the Demon on you. And Boarding House will be the second feature, and Mike Justice will be our co-host. So stick around, or come back rather. Don't stick around. We're signing off.
Stick around. If you want to stick around all week, I can't stop you.
Good night.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.
17 not admitted without parents or guardian.